You're welcome.
Should I come to the microphone?
You
Or
do
not necessary?
wherever you feel comfortable, Mrs. Struggle. That's fine.
Okay, well, I think I'll sit down. Thank you.
So just introduce yourself and then you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. I'm Abigail Jarbo. I live at 416 Maple Street. And I've lived here since, I don't know, 87, something like that. Now, I have heard from some people that Lebanon County is corrupt, and I hope that is not true, but that is what I've heard. And I am not happy about some things that have been happening. 2 law enforcement people came to my house asking for people I have never heard of. They said they were told that this person or persons was living in my property. Well, right now, the only one that lives with me is my dog, and nobody else has lived there since July. And the person that lived there in July moved to Texas, so he's not around. I did not recognize the names of the people that they were asking about, and I am not happy that somebody told these people, law enforcement people, that this person was living in my house. Whoever told them that was either highly misinformed or lying, one or the other. And I do not appreciate being bothered by law enforcement when I have done nothing wrong. Now, I am very displeased. Now, subsequently, I went to the police station and the sheriff's office to try and find out what's going on. And I was told that somebody I do know has 2 warrants for his arrest. Well, he wasn't living in my house. Anyway, so when I found that out, I went to where he is living and asked him to come back with me to turn himself in, and he refused. So, I am wanting the person that said this false business prosecuted for violating my constitutional rights. And there's more, but I think it more involves the city police than it does involve you, so I won't go into the details. However, I would like to say, I'm sure you have heard all the complaints about the different weather disasters that are going on, and nobody is saying why this might be happening. Well, God says, if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, cleanse their, or something like that, and heal the land. Now, nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying, why don't we repent of our sins and get right with God, and then maybe a lot of this trouble would go away. And further, I would like to say that I do not appreciate the fact that people are not paying attention to Jesus Christ. He died for our sins the way the Bible says. He was buried. He rose the 3rd day. More than 500 people saw him at once, and he is the answer to our problems. But nobody seems to want to listen to that. Nobody seems to want to hear it. So I'm bringing it to your attention, and I ask you to please read, believe, and obey the Bible, starting with the Gospel of John, King James Version. It was written that you might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you might have life through his have life through his name. Now further, I am very bothered because apparently Jade Janetto is harassing me. At least that's the impression I get. I took a letter for her and her mother to her house. And then and in that letter I said that I hope you will get together with the father of your children and make arrangements, because they've been keeping him, or at least Jade has, from visiting his children. And I don't appreciate that. And so I said, I hope you'll get together with him, but if you won't, I'm willing to sell a house to get the money to get a lawyer to have him get his children. So I am extremely unhappy about that. Now, I'll be taking up more in detail with the city council, but I am extremely, extremely bothered. Then somebody called and said that I had this father of the children at my house helping me unload groceries. That is patently false. I had somebody at my house who was taking stuff out of her car to put on my porch because the cop had pulled her over saying her car was too full. But that is an old lady, like 71 years old. She's also very bent over. And to possibly mistake her for Corey Blanco is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He's young, he's tall, and he's athletic. She can hardly walk. I mean, really. So I feel I'm being harassed, and I would like you to do anything that can be done to stop this ridiculousness. And secondly, I would like to know who I would go to find out if I could get these warrants dropped and how much it would cost me. Anyone here could do that or not?
I think your 3rd floor would be a place, or the
3rd floor?
3rd floor.
What's on 3rd floor?
The
It's
courts.
domestic relation warrants.
What are they? Oh,
Domestic relations.
Yeah, so it's court related, so that would be third floor.
Are they both domestic relations? Or do I have to go somewhere else
Off the
too?
top of my head, Abigail, I don't remember. I believe the original stuff was domestics.
I see. Well, anyway, I'm irate. I'm not very irate, but I'm a little irate.
You're on the verge.
What?
On the verge. Okay. But we'll refer what we can to our solicitor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Be careful walking out there, Mrs. Jarbo.
I know. I walked down from my house, so I know.
All right, we're looking for approval of the minutes of our January 4th meeting.
Motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Okay, we have Mrs. Newland's treasurer's report.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
We had receipts on January 16th and 17th of $2,903,020.79. That brought us to a total cash of $3,436,305.17. Our expenditures this week were $2,941,672.47. Our tax claim was $1,500, and we have a balance of $493,132.70.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report, subject to audit.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions for Mrs. Newland? Not all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
I guess I do have a question. Sally, before the meeting, you told me you had to use some of our funds, but it has the full amount here from reserve.
It might be marked to the side. That's what we had before today.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would have came up yesterday, so that would have been before I used it.
Okay, thank you.
March can't come quickly enough.
You're right.
Okay. Good morning, Michelle.
Morning.
Introduce yourself to you and please proceed.
Michelle Snavely, Director of Human Resources. Under resignations and terminations, Amber Smith, Caseworker 2 and Children and Youth, resignation effective January 17th. April Connor Core, Administrative Assistant 1 in Domestic Relations, termination effective January 5th. Marisly Torres, Collections Officer and Probation Services, rescind offer of employment effective January 2nd. And Matthew Rothgeber, Full-Time Deputy Sheriff, Sheriff's Office, resignation effective January 23rd.
Make a motion to approve those resignations and terminations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under leaves of absence, Corey Saracini and Information Technology Services, 2-week paid leave of absence, effective December 27th of 2023 to January 11th of 2024. Lucia Miranda, Domestic Relations, 6-month intermittent leave of absence, effective December 28th of 2023, with an expected return date of June 26th of 24. Holly Whitmer from the Lebanon County Correctional Facility, an additional 30-day leave of absence, all unpaid, effective January 8th of 2024, expected return February 7th of 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the leaves of absence as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those LOAs. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, Morgan Ernst, promotion from Caseworker 2 in Children and Youth to Child Abuse Investigator at the rate of $1,767.92 biweekly, effective January 21st. Rachel Bradley, promotion from Office Support 1 at the Lebanon County Correctional Facility to Administrative Assistant 1 at the rate of $1,135.21 biweekly, effective January 22nd. Shannon Pascal, promotion from Assistant Public Defender 2 in the Public Defender's Office to First Assistant Public Defender at the rate of $3,321.28 biweekly, effective January 22nd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under other transactions, the Lebanon County Correctional Facility would like to hire the following 11 full-time correctional officers, all at the rate of $22.71 per hour, all effective January 23rd, and that is Anna Mary Geiger, Evelise Torres, Jamel Glover, Ashley Jones, Justin Spangler, Rachel Rossi, Michaela Blatt, Ross Sadazan, Devin Weaver, David Santana, and Connor Werney. The Prothonotari's office would like to hire Julimar La Barbera as a general clerk C at the rate of $1,117.67 biweekly, effective January 22nd. The Public Defender's office would like to hire David Long as an assistant public defender 2 at the rate of $3,269.23 biweekly, effective January 22nd. And the sheriff would like to hire Jessica Marks as a clerk typist A at the rate of $1,277.34 biweekly, effective January 22nd.
I'll make a motion to approve the new hires and rehires as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so ordered.
Moving on to salary board, motion to approve all transactions previously read plus the following. Elvira Gonzalez Dominic, an interpreter pay stipend of $1,500 annually, effective January 22nd. Mitchell Dowdy, longevity payment, full-time correctional officer at the jail, a one-time 5-year longevity payment of $1,000, effective January 26th. John Flint III, longevity payment, full-time correctional officer at the jail, one-time 5-year longevity payment of $1,000, effective January 26th. Byron McDaniels, longevity payment, full-time correctional officer / private first class at the Lebanon County Correctional Facility, one-time 3-year longevity payment of $500, effective January 26th. And Samantha Diadamo, longevity payment, probation officer 1 in probation services, one-time 3-year longevity payment in the amount of $1,258.47, effective February 9th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those salary board transactions. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I was pointing behind you, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I mispointed. Morning, Francis.
Morning.
Good morning, Craig.
So I just broke down a summary.
First of all, would you please introduce yourself and then you may proceed.
Sure. Craig Zamitas, Lebanon County Conservation District, Farmland Preservation Specialist. So I'm here to certify the funds to go to the state to get matched so we can have more preservation dollars. So I just broke down where our funds come from. So I have there the township donations, and then on the right of that you see the total municipalities, the 97,850. The total private donations received this year were $3,279.41, and then this is also a private donation, but I separated it. Esther Mae Martin had passed away and left part of her estate to us, and that ended up being $765,000. So we have a large chunk this year, which is why it's so much larger than previous years. Previous years was around 200 to 300,000. This year, the total would be 1,094,747.
Awesome.
So, I'm here to answer any questions. But
Okay, let's get a motion on the floor first.
Make a motion to approve.
And I will happily second it.
Okay, a happy second. Is there any questions for Craig? Any discussion? Guess it's pretty clear. It's going to be good numbers there. So I'll ask for all in favor to say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. So moved. Easy peasy, Craig. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
We're good for sure. Yes. So we will suspend our meeting and convene the election board with Chairman Quinn.
I will call the meeting of the Lebanon County Board of Elections to order. Alan, you want to walk us through the agenda, please?
Sure. Do a quick recap of 2023, some of the things we're going to be looking at for 2024. We have various capital proposals to discuss today. A couple of challenges that came up that I just want to prep you guys for this next crazy year. So, 2023, overall, Election Day went great. We're pretty pleased. We made one change that'll be relevant to the board coming back, is that we went from about 8 to 10 canvassers to about 25. So we were able to finish up before lunch last year. So I'm very pleased with that, and we'll get more into that later because we're going to be seeing a significant jump in those numbers for the spring. But overall, I'm pretty happy. There has been a lot of major legislation that has changed, or court cases. Everything that I thought I'd be coming here to update you with has been overturned by another court and stopped. So there's things that are in the courts, but nothing really to update you with yet. For this upcoming year, we have a few things to chat about. The first is that I'd like to start a nursing home initiative this summer. We used to go to nursing homes in person, sign people up to register. That was pre-mail and ballot, so that wasn't really an option. But since mail-in balloting, since Act 77, we haven't had the staff to be able to go do that because we're doing mail-in balloting in the office. So this summer, what we'd like to do is take some volunteers that we have through some of our canvassers and poll workers and at least one internal staff, get them in the nursing homes and set up appointments and do meet and greets in nursing homes and question and answer periods. So all of you are invited to participate in any of those, but we'll have to do that this summer. That's on the horizon. And a big part of that is to answer any questions that people have regarding how to register, are they registered, and to make sure that the nursing homes aren't being overly proactive in assisting nursing home residents in processing their paperwork. Also this summer, I was hoping in January, but it looks like it'll be in May, we're going to be doing an in-depth dive on all our polling place paperwork. There are things that we need to do to make sure that we have current contacts. There's a lot of turnover at some of these facilities, but especially the ADA audit. We do an ADA review every year, but we're going to be doing a very in-depth ADA audit this summer, taking bubble levels out the parking lots and measuring tapes at doors and the whole 9 yards. So we have to have that all signed off on eventually by you, but it's a very time-consuming process. We're bringing in a trainer from Dauphin County at no expense who's going to teach us the right way to do this, not just the guesstimate way, but how they've been successful in passing these audits in other counties. So that's part of the holdup, is getting that coordinated with the trainer. So rather than do it ourselves and guess on what we think is about right, we'll bring in the guy to teach us the right way.
Will you be, with the permission of the building
Yes.
owner, will you be marking the 10-foot? Because so many times people from inside are confused between the door housing the machines versus the door of the building where you enter.
So that, because we'll be there in July, we probably will not be doing that. And there's a bit of an art to that too. Where does the 10-foot actually come from? My old polling precinct, we said the 10-foot was from the table where you signed in, and that cleared out a hallway down to the front entrance, and then that was a very convenient spot to let everyone then just be right there at the entrance. I know other polling places aren't so clear. We're going to be, we could note that in our paperwork if we see that there's a problem with the layout that would complicate that decision. But my focus, honestly, is just making sure we're compliant for wheelchair access and things like that. We have some paperwork that says that it all is, but I want to see it with my own eyes and get it exactly measured out. So that's a good point, though. Like, we could add that to the paperwork.
Over the years, that has been the one thing that I've had to discuss with people when I go around to the polls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I hear it too. the 10-foot rule and there's a sign in my yard. Yep. In a few weeks, we'll be having preventive maintenance on all of our equipment. There'll be a team coming from ES&S over to the warehouse. They'll be taking apart and inspecting every piece of equipment we have. The Runback team is also coming on site the same week, and they'll be down the hall here looking at the mail sorter. So that's all routine, all built into the contract, so no expense to us. We're already hearing in the field that we're going to lose a handful of judge of elections. So far, nothing that isn't normal turnover for an election, but it's a bit early in the cycle to already be hearing that. So nothing of concern yet because we were getting it early enough. It's not the week before. We have time to replace those. But I'm curious to see if that's a warning for the presidential year that maybe some people are done. But so far, so good. Hopefully, it was just an unusual few came in all at once. The numbers that are coming in already for the presidential are significant. We're up about 70% in mail-in registration processing. That is a lot more paperwork, and it's not really moving the county numbers. It's a lot of people that are filing paperwork because maybe they don't know they're registered, and they are, or they just want to change parties. There's a lot of movement early on with that. There's a lot of people starting to push direct mail pieces, which we'll get into later, warning people that there may be an issue with their registration. There isn't, but it causes people to question us about it. So there's a significant jump already in the paperwork, and it's going to be it's going up and up as we get closer to the election. And those numbers, the big number I would imagine you're going to ask about is the mail-in voting change, because we're not looking at a big change for pure registration numbers. A small increase, of course, we'll expect, but for mail-in voting, we're probably going to come close to doubling that number this time. So that's relevant to some of the capital proposals we're talking about, and why we want to keep that large number of canvassers for Election Day. So,
May I ask a question? Sure.
Mhm.
Double meaning what's the base of?
So we're on paper we have like close to 12, but in practical terms we're looking like 8,000 or so in the last year. But it was a municipal year, numbers were down. So we're looking at 16 to 18,000 this year. So so that's going to impact Election Day for you and me a lot. So that's something to bear in mind.
And may I just clarify up 70% in inquiries about registration, or
Actual paperwork coming through. You know, people getting a direct mail piece from a third party and saying there may be something wrong with your account or your registration, and so they hop on the state website and they just fill out paperwork again, and we get double paperwork. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. There's also the new the DMV law that's pushing a lot of registrations our way, and it's a lot of paperwork, but again, it's not really changing the numbers for the county. It's just a lot of stuff that you have to sit and process, and it doesn't make a big difference for us so far. So capital proposals, we have a few things to look at. This is for the year. Hopefully this is the last time we got to talk about this year. The first is, since I started actually during my interview process, one of the things that I was looking at was personnel management software of some kind, something beyond just an Excel spreadsheet that we could use to manage our poll workers. There are a lot of software packages out there, a lot of very small companies that have some interesting options, but there is one nationwide, very well-respected group called Easy Vote, currently used by Delaware County. The software package is $6,000 up front, and that's your cost, $5,000, and then a $1,000 training fee. They import all of our data for all of our poll workers, students, canvassers, rovers, everything. And the software manages that. It spits out our numbers for payroll. It automatically, through the software, we can text message and email them, or produce letters for direct mail pieces. It's a few clicks. It's no mail merges anymore, none of that. Just click, 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 and 2 minutes later you got a text message going out to them. So it's very appealing to me. I think it's a very low price point. This comes at a good time because our Shell is leaving, and she is a whiz with this stuff. This would be a good time to transition that, because we could get it all into software. There'd be no extra charge for the training with the software. They would train us and the new people hopefully next month when we find somebody. And it would just be a big step up for us. So that's my proposal. I have the Easy Vote here. Now, a twist on this is that Easy Vote also offers campaign finance and petition tracking. That's a separate module. It's an extra $3,000 for that. And what that is, from a database point of view, similar to the poll worker, but from your perspective, I think it might be very interesting to consider, if not now, definitely in the future, where that you could submit campaign finance reports directly online. Anyone in the county could, or you could give them to us, and then we would use the paper copy to submit it online. You'd have an account set up. It's all in the cloud, so there'd be nothing for IT to manage. It's be all managed on their end, and there'd be just a link set up on our webpage to go to the campaign finance database. And then, if you used that, you would get automatic reminders for all of your reports. So you would be generated an email. I don't know about a text, but definitely an email would come to you that says in 3 days or 5 days, whatever we set it for, you have a campaign finance report due. That would be.
I like it.
I really like that.
I used it for the state years ago. I mean, it's been around a long time, and it's a very handy tool.
Mm-hmm. So that is, I have some urgency with the poll worker software. This module we can add at any time. If you're interested, we can get it there right away. We don't have a municipal this year, so it's not as much pressure to keep track of all that stuff as we normally would, but it would be interesting to add that as well. I'd like to see it in place for next year. If you would like to consider it for this year, it's all the same to me. If we do them at the same time, it saves $1,000 on training and implementation. If we do them separately, there'd be a separate fee next year.
And remind me what you have coming up on the ballot locally. Township supervisors or anything?
No, it's state level and
No
Republican
school
committee.
board?
Nothing.
So next year would be appropriate then?
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion for the $6,000 direct mail text training package at this point.
We have a motion on the floor. Second.
I'll second it.
Motion second. Any other discussion, questions, comments?
Covered by the grant?
This would be covered by grant money.
Okay.
Poll worker management.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Jennifer and I. We'll get that.
Okay.
Do we want to consider the other?
I'd like it for
Additional
next
software?
year, but I don't know, is it worth saving $1,000 this year by putting $2,000 out, or do we pay the $3,000 extra and will the price go up?
It'd be $3,000 for the base, $1,000 on top of that for the implementation next year.
Okay.
That would be rolled in this year.
And if we don't have local positions on the ballot, it wouldn't really get used much this year, so I was thinking wait next year.
Pretty neutral on
Or can we
honestly.
authorize it now for next year, and would that be appropriate?
We have because of the grant, this is all covered by grant. So because of the grant, if we rolled it together into one, I think we'd be okay. We have a high grant ceiling. I came in thinking just space them out, but if it saves us $1,000, maybe.
Considering the current rate of inflation, is it a good idea to invest now? that
Well, that's, it's a gamble either way.
Right.
If we know we're
I
going
just,
to confident.
because we just voted, we motion voted, now we're, reconsidering it already. So,
Well, it would be a separate. It could be a.
yeah, I know, I understand. We
Sorry.
could have done it in one if there was interest in it, but I'm fine either way.
We'll entertain a motion to invest in the additional software at this time, if there's interest.
I would like to invest in it if we can time it so we can purchase next year's, but include it all together and get the discounts. Am I making sense with that?
Mm-hmm.
The discount is not really a discount, it's a savings in training.
Yeah, the savings and implementation training. Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and second. Just to clarify, you're saying to authorize the funding, but not purchase.
Well, in other words, if it can be in this fiscal year for next year, I think that would be good, because then we're not putting it online for local when we don't have local candidates.
Right.
Clear.
Well,
local candidates probably still be filing some campaign finance reports
Right.
because they'll be raising money and preparing for next year's election.
An interesting point that Don is bringing up is that if we had it now, it would kind of force us to learn it this year while we only have a handful of people using it before we get flooded next year. So it might, that's a
But
really good
it's
point.
also in a presidential year, so.
It is.
Call the question.
Call the question. Any additional comments or questions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it.
I don't know what to do.
Out on the,
Oh, it's
Go
locked.
out there, she can unlock it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. I thought it was turned off. So did the man at the desk. I thought it was too.
Those little bags. So, the next item is tied to the canvassing on election day. We, as I said, we about tripled the number of canvassers we used, and auditing the process flow on election day, where we see bottlenecks is unfortunately me. We have all the people in place to do the work at the desk. I can't keep up with the number of canvassers, so we have a good chunk of the room sitting idle throughout the day. So there's two things we can do for that. We can bring in a trusted canvasser that's done it multiple times and let them take over a lot of what I'm doing. So if I get called out to handle something in the field, that work doesn't stop. Stephanie Exarlis filled in for us on election day. I think she was happy to have something to do. So she ran the letter opener. But even doing that, we have people sitting idle much of the time because we can't open mail fast enough, and by law we can't open it before 7 a.m. So we can't prep ahead of time, which hopefully will change in the future, but no time soon. So we have a second letter opener that is no longer functional. It's a low volume letter opener. We have a high volume letter opener that is working great. And one proposal that we could consider is if we purchase a second letter opener, we can divide the room in half and have columns of people and have a canvasser up here running this one, myself or another canvasser running the second one, and we'd be going a lot faster. Something to consider. The sister device, the more inexpensive version of the device we already have, is a smaller version that can be used in an office. It's not the size of a truck. If we were to purchase that, we could use it year-round and not just on election day. But it would basically be, the driving force here is we want to cut down the time on election day to canvass. If adding triple the number of people got us done by lunch, but we're going to double the number of ballots this time around, we're going to be working right through the end of the day on election day. I'd like to see us get done a lot earlier so we could all get out and do things in the field. The price on a letter opener is $10,000. If we go through the same vendor, it'll be rolled in, almost completely rolled in, maintenance costs into our existing contract. If we were to go through any other vendor, it adds a significant yearly additional cost. But the vendor has the 410 model that we've been looking at for years. I believe that was one of the models that they considered as a finalist when they purchased the last letter opener, but they were sold out because it was after Act 88. And all across the state, every county was buying these gigantic letter openers all at once. So we ended up getting the only one we could get at the time. So it would be an approximate cost of $10,000, $500 installation fee, delivery for the year-round device that we could wheel in on election day. So this is I wouldn't consider this. I'd go smaller if it weren't for canvassing, but this would make a big impact on getting it through the mail on election day. This is fully covered by the grant, by the way.
Entertain a motion to,
I'll second the motion.
are there any other questions or comments?
What is the name of the grant?
The election integrity grant.
Okay, thank you.
Everything that gives us a second unit for, it's always nice to have backup.
And redundancy is nice. That's the other thing. We have no redundancy. This would be some redundancy. This is not as fast as the one we have, but it's something we can use. So if I think
When
it'll
the other one
justify the
goes
cost.
down, we can keep going.
Yeah, at least we'd have something.
Yeah.
Any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Significantly larger conversation is the e-poll books. So in our spring election, we did try out fall election, we tried out the
Are
e-poll
you
books.
skipping?
Oh, I did sort of, sorry. we can
follow your
back up
agenda.
a second.
Yeah.
We do have a number of small dollar items that we're looking at. We have to replace vote packs. They're the privacy shields. They just break and wear out, and we haven't bought any in years. So we're down a good number of those. We're looking at about 60 units to replace. That'd be a few extra, plus replacing the ones that are broken. That's at a cost at about $25 a unit, so total cost around $1,500, so pretty low dollar. That is something we really need to do, though. I'm mentioning it as a separate discussion piece here because something that we used on a trial basis is something called the Ben Franklin voting booths in the fall. We were able to get 4 of them to trial. They were well liked in the field. Those voting booths are $1,000 a piece, but they're a 4-topper unit, and they're not just one. And the interesting thing is, they replaced that table by Bob. There. So that table is our ADA voting booth. And Bob, will you give it a little shake for me?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the table that we put the express votes on to vote and for wheelchair access for voting. They're hated by poll workers to the point that in many polling places, the poll workers don't even get them out because they can't figure out how to assemble them. Now it's only 2 pieces in the box. You think it wouldn't be hard to put together, but it's a logic puzzle. They are difficult to put together. Many polling places have just forgone. They just don't use them. They set them on a table somewhere. The express votes in a table somewhere in the polling place. I completely, as a poll worker myself, I completely understand why they do that. But the problem is that is wheelchair access, and that's why we have it. So if they don't put it on the right table, we're completely defeating the purpose of it. The Ben Franklins have an 80. One of those. One of the 4 units there is designed to hold that exact piece of equipment and is wheelchair accessible.
I saw you had them out here last election. They were red, white, and blue. They
Yeah.
were very attractive.
They are. They're really a slick piece of investment. They're nice, but they're expensive at $1,000.
How
but
much?
$1,000 a
A
piece.
piece.
To replace those, which we have to replace a number of them because they're broken, they were talking about $250. So it comes down to they're junk. We hate them anyway. There's probably another solution. We don't have to go with the Ben Franklin. That is a high-end solution. But by adding the Ben Franklin, we get 3 other voting spots out of the same unit. The other stuff we're looking at, it's just a different version of that table. So we get 1 for the space. So the 4 places that use them all really like them. We have requests from judges for 8 more, and that's it. So we're not talking like we're buying 1 for every polling place. It would be, if there's 8 people that are looking at them, I think that's reasonable as long as they're using it the way it's designed and we're replacing these. And then as these continue to break, maybe we consider continuing to add those. Or if we find another solution, I'm open to that too down the road. This would be for the presidential year though.
So, requesting approval for 8 at this time?
8 Ben Franklins and 60 vote packs.
Correct.
And
Thank you.
60 vote packs, yes.
Mhm.
Well, I'll make a motion for the 60 units of vote packs and the 8 Ben Franklins as requested.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please have it. That is approved. John, please proceed.
All right, and then the poll pads. So in the fall, we did a trial. We did 12 precincts of the 60. We did 6 ES&S, 6 no ink. The platforms from an ops point of view on my end have a lot of similarities behind the scenes, but they look dramatically different. They work pretty differently in the field. Overall, it was a very successful trial. We had no issues whatsoever with No Ink. They worked exactly as advertised. We had a lot of very good feedback. We did a survey, QR code survey. The feedback was excellent from the No Ink ones. ES&S in one precinct in particular, North Londonderry East, had issues. They worked great all day, and then at 5 p.m. they started to slow down. They had to be rebooted, but the people in the poll workers never informed us that they were slowing down or having any issues. So they just operated without rebooting them or without doing anything, and they were going very, very slow. Meaning that you hit a letter, and then it'd be like 2-3 seconds before the letter would appear on the screen. Old school computer issues you don't really see anymore, but and it was an easy fix. And since there's been a patch, so it doesn't happen on the ones that are patched anymore. But all that said, there was an issue. The price points for the different vendors are almost the same. The No Ink ops wise is easier for me to use.
Is that Apple-based?
It is. That's the Apple-based one. It was brought to my attention now, and it's funny how like you hear it from one spot and then you hear it from 5 spots all at once. One thing that a bit of feedback I got and started asking about, and all of a sudden I got it a lot of other places. People didn't realize that we sent styluses out so people could sign with a pen. When you sign with a pen, it's like you're signing with a pen on paper. You can't see the difference whatsoever. If you sign with your finger, it's just like in the grocery store. It's usually pretty right, but sometimes it's not quite right, especially if you use hand cream, which is the same problem that machine has right there. If you use hand cream before you go to hit your votes on the touch screens, it doesn't quite work great. So that was a lesson learned, and I thought was obvious when we told them they're styluses and they're fluorescent green, and we give them the styluses, that they would hand the styluses to the voters, but they didn't. So we'll take care of that if we would move forward. But I will say that ES&S has been an amazing partner for the county. I love their service. Their whole team is amazing to work with. But when looking at the actual products side by side, No Ink had no issues whatsoever, and ES&S did have issues. That said, I would recommend moving forward with them. From an ops point of view, it was a massive change in how we do things post-election. It was huge. We take 3 weeks, 7 hours, 2 weeks, 7 hours a day for 3 people, manually entering in data that took me 15 minutes to upload using the poll pads. That's massive. And no human error. It took it all out. It was just click, 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 and we were done. So that's what I was hoping to see. In the No Ink, well, I can say in both locations, both vendor locations, aside from 2 spots where ES&S was present, we saw the lines were 1 to 3 minutes, mostly less than a minute, waiting to sign in. So very short. I was very pleased. It was everything we were hoping to get out of it.
Go ahead, Bob.
So because of the volume that you're going to be facing, and I don't know where my colleagues are on this, but I just, want to be sure that it's not going to be an additional slowdown thing. Did you feel, I didn't have any trouble at my voting area. It was very slick.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear it's slowing things down and the volume's going to be double,
Right.
That's not a good combination. So
It's not, and that's what we're trying to address actually by doing this, is to go faster. Outside of, I hate to keep harping on this, but outside of the handful of places that had issues with the ES&S,
Okay.
which they tell me have since been resolved. Of course they tell me that. There were no issues with the No Ink. They were flying. So, when I was in the field, there were no lines to check in anywhere that had the poll pads until I got to North Londonderry East, and I walked in and the line was around the door, and I walked in and said, "What are you guys doing?" And that's when we found out that, oh yeah, they got slow, and oh, we probably should have said something.
So, John, how would you respond to someone who raised a question or concern about the system being able to be hacked into?
Of course, that's the first thing that came up, right, when we first considered this. So what's on these poll pads is not in any way connected to our voting systems, not in any way. All it is it's a list of voters. It's publicly available on the state website. All of your voting history, everything is out there, for better or for worse. It's all, which we'll be talking about at the end of the meeting here. It's all available online. We take a chunk of that information that both parties, Republican and Democrat, purchase for about $20 already on their own to use for direct mail pieces. And it's just a spreadsheet, a CSV, name, address, signatures included. And then if you have a record flagged for some reason, just like in the paper poll books that says you have to show an ID, it's your first time voting, you've already voted via mail so you can't vote in person that day, those details are all public and they're all in your data file online. We grab that chunk out of there and we load it onto the poll pad. So it's nothing that isn't publicly available, and it's nothing that's connected in any way to actual voting.
It's actually the same thing you're doing now, but you're doing it manually now.
It's literally the same file. So we don't do anything new for the electronic poll. It's the same file that we send to David A. Smith for printing of poll books now. It's the exact same file.
It reduces human error and
Dramatically, yeah.
So much more efficient in creating that.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, I still have the same concerns I had initially, and that is that there is the ability to connect to the internet on the iPad. I love Apple. I have an Apple phone.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, and I hear you saying it's the same information, but to get that information, whether you do it by hooking to our main computer or on a flash drive, and you request a new flash drive if I come in to get the voter list,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want me to infect everything.
Yeah.
I had the same concern hooking the iPads up to the main computer terminal that could go to the state. Any of our 67 counties using this could infect the entire system. I'm not a computer guru, but I know the precautions you take to try and thwart any viruses by requesting brand new in the package
Mm-hmm.
flash drives. And yet you want us to buy these so we have more things to hook up. I know it saves on labor, but if we get infected, we're going to lose everything.
So an interesting thing about how that they talk to each other. So they don't directly connect into the state database, which is interesting. They kick out, so the database kicks out that file that on an FTP site that sits out there, and it's just the address, the name and address file. That sits out there, and then David A. Smith or Phoenix or whatever printer wants to go grab that, will go grab that off the FTP site with the state's permission, and then use it to create their books. We're doing the same thing here. So the difference in what your concern is, which is a great concern, but how that's addressed is this isn't directly interfacing with the database. What the database is kicking out a file to a secure FTP site, and then that is going over to No Ink and being loaded into their poll pads.
But you told us that it will tell you if you've already voted.
Yes.
Somehow it's interfacing.
Yes, and it does that. So it does it at that point. So your record is flagged at the point we kick out the file. So it'd be right before the election, like immediately before the election. So then that file is generated. So the database is over here, and the poll pads are over here. And then I'm taking the file out of the database. I'm putting it on a third-party spot. This is severed, and then somebody, No Ink in this case, would grab that file, or David A. Smith would grab that file and go use it over here. So at no point are these two units actually directly touching. After the election is over, what this is going to do is kick out a file that is tied to your voter ID. And the voter ID, it doesn't need to kick back everything in there. It's just a series of numbers. It's a text file. And that voter ID is going to be loaded in, and I'm going to create a file just with that, nothing else in it. And that will say and No Ink will know that this list is nothing but people who voted on election day. Then I'm going to give that to the FTP site over at state, and then the state's going to grab and inspect the file, and then they're going to take it and they're going to put it into their data file, and it's just that list of numbers. So at no point did like the systems actually touch.
To me, that's the same as a flash drive. Any virus can be transmitted. I am not convinced. I mean, I use electronics a lot, but we're talking about democracy and our presidential race. I don't want, and it's not just me, it is convincing the public. There's a lot of people that do not like, maybe it's fun to sign your name, but they don't like the electronic interface, and even though it's not direct, it will happen eventually. I'm still not on board with it.
Kermit had.
Yes, yeah, we're
Yeah, I just
trying to
have a
get a
simple-
question.
Simple question, and it might have been addressed, but let me just ask it specifically. So, when I vote.
Excuse me, would you introduce yourself for the
Oh, I'm
record?
sorry. I'm Kermit Bell. Need anything else? Like
Kermit
address?
Bell.
And
Okay.
you're, where you live?
Palmyra.
Thank you.
So when I vote in South Lanier Township, right, it's this, the sign in, it's very quick process. Do you have any sense whether, using a computer, the iPad or whatever the device is the same, takes about the same amount of time, takes longer?
Well, so we aren't the pioneers here. These are all over already in other counties. No Ink has, I don't know what the count is. I should know, I can't remember what the count is, but they have a number of Pennsylvania counties. ES&S only has a few at this point. The other counties that have used it have all expressed about a 30% speed increase in check-in on election day. And that's one of the things that grabbed my attention when we first were looking at it. And I said, really? And where that speed increase comes is if you type just 3 letters of your name, the first 3 letters of your name, it instantly almost always pulls you up specifically.
Okay.
And then if you have a few people with a similar first 3 letters, it's right there. So it goes, the check-in process, I did it for years. You know, you're going through the book and
Right.
could you say that again? Could you say that again? And you're going back and forth. And it's not long when you do it by paper, but it's a minute. And if you type in the 3 first letters, it's a few seconds. So net, other counties have all reported about 30% increase in speed. And that's why I was a little disappointed with what happened in North Londonderry East, because it kind of fouled the results for everything else, because everyone else had almost everyone else had a pretty good, darn good experience. And in that one spot, it got real slow. But it had nothing to do with the check-in process. It was basically a data issue in the
No,
background.
that's good. I just said sometimes you implement technology and, it comes with a set of issues.
Oh yeah, I know.
So 30% sounds impressive to me.
Yeah, so our concern, actually where we saw the No Ink deployed, our concern was not with the sign-in on the pads, it's that we don't have enough voting booths, because we're going a little bit faster, and if we're used to, a precinct has, say, 6 voting booths, and we're speeding up by that much, we actually need to add more voting booths, which is what we just voted on with the vote packs. We'll be able to replace the broken ones and add more voting booths to accommodate the people who are getting through the line faster.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Faith Bucks, South Londonderry also. I was just curious, so this gets rid of the A through K and the L through M lines and all that, right? And
Yeah.
that gets rid of that, correct?
In fact, that's where we find a speed increase.
Okay.
That's another thing from my time in the polling places. I was usually the A through K guy.
Yeah.
And somehow the line would form on the other side, and then I'd be sitting there idle. Here you have the polling pads. They all work together, so you can go to any line, and you don't have a line one particular letter.
And how many are you expecting at each polling station?
So that is a great question. I was going to match the number of books, and best practice from other counties said don't do that. because you have an increase in speed in signing in, if you have 3 books, you really need 2, and you're still going to be faster. I like to keep things the same for the poll workers as much as possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge change.
Right,
People don't like change.
People don't like change.
Yeah.
So if there was a place that was adamant about having 3 books, I was just going to go with 3 poll pads at that location. But both the vendor and other counties keep telling me, that's a waste. So if we were to invest, if we were to estimate in about 60 plus extras for in case something goes down or replacements or just in case, where we would probably, what I would probably do is there's quite a few that we only need 1. And then I would take that 1 extra and have it available to the high volume precincts. But 2 should be adequate, but there'll be a 3rd available.
I'm gonna cut down on workers then too, or workers.
In theory, it should be nice,
Okay.
honestly, it'd be
Thank
nice.
So Sean, do you have a specific recommendation?
As much as I enjoy working with the SNS and a great services they give us, I can't deny that No Ink's product was superior. From an ops point of view, it completely changed how we do post-election stuff. It was fantastic. To follow best practice from other counties, it'd be 125 of these units. That would cover 2 per precinct with a few extra, which would be good to have. The cost for a total package would be $231,500 for the first year. That would be all the equipment up front, training, everything. And that would have us set for the spring. It would be everything be delivered in time for the spring. I would recommend going with No Ink. I note Joanne's concern about security. I'm confident that given the air gap between our voting systems and these poll pads, that it won't affect voting at all, which is my primary concern. And the way the data is passed between the systems, I feel very confident that that'd be safe too. I'd recommend going with the No Ink system for the spring.
Just 2 questions. And this 2 would be under the grant, though it's a big number.
This is a big number, but it's all 100% under the grant. And while I didn't do this by design, I promise I didn't, this works out to be almost the same amount of money we spent on the Runback system under the same grant. So we'd have the same cushion to cover our other expenses for the rest of the year.
And my second question, before I make a motion to do this, is there any evidence of these viral issues that your colleagues that have already field tested these things? I just want to hear, is that an issue that is, real out there?
Which issue? I'm so sorry.
I'm referring to the virus.
No, there have been no attacks. No, nothing. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of these poll books.
Okay, a motion on the floor. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion second. Any other questions, comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Moving forward. Thank you, Sean. Continue.
All right. I have important upcoming dates for all of you. There's a lot of them. First, I already mentioned was preventative maintenance week. I said a mouthful all of a sudden. That's 2/12 to 2/16. We're going to have a small army of people between our 2 vendors here. Then the end of February, I don't have a date yet. There's a lot of variables there. We're going to have to get together for a ballot review and approval. Unfortunately, that doesn't time with pre-scheduled commissioners meetings, so we'll have to talk about that when we get there. LNA testing right now, pending the approval of the ballot, the end of February is the week of March 4th through 8th. And that would give us a target date for dropping mail for mail-in ballots the middle of March, right around 3/14, maybe a little sooner if we're lucky. We'll have poll worker training 3/25 and 26, and then a week later on Monday the 1st and 2nd. Registering to vote is going to be closed on April 8th. And the last day to request a mail-in ballot is April 16th. I'd like to focus on that last date there for a second. One thing that did happen in 2023 is that 2022 we saw about a 3-day delivery time of mail-in ballots. In 2023 we saw about a 7-day. 4 to 7 day was the window, but it's leaning towards the 7-day. That's completely out of my hands, and it's very frustrating. Especially this window here, 4/16. That is 1 week before the election, and if it stays the same and we have a 1 week delivery time on mail-in ballots, we always have a handful of people who are coming in there at the end. So we will instruct staff on the phone or talking to people in person. If they're putting it in on this day, please pick it up, because we don't want to be blamed if they don't get it in time. There's a lot of talk I hear from people who are involved in this process of moving registration up to Election Day or mail-in ballots even later. I don't know how we do that with this system. So I guess people making more money than I are going to have to figure that out at the top if they don't move it. So then Election Day is still currently the 23rd, while the board was on a nice year-long vacation.
Yeah, right. We worked our butts off.
There was a lot of talk of moving it up, a lot. Thankfully, that did not happen. While I understand their concerns and reasons for wanting to move it, it was simply too late. So we are sticking to the 23rd. Post-election, we usually meet the Friday after the election for computation. I'd like to, at this time, move it to Monday, so almost a week after the election. The reason being, we are looking at a huge increase in number of provisionals and military ballots. We're looking at potentially, based on historical data across the state, a 2,000% increase in military ballot requests. We need time to process that stuff. And if we go from about a 30% turnout rate to 88% turnout rate, that's going to be proportional for provisional ballots. In fact, they'll probably be even higher than proportional, because there'll be people that are showing up that haven't voted in 4 years. Maybe they're no longer registered, or maybe they never were registered, but they've seen a lot of TV commercials and they're showing up to vote. So we're expecting a huge spike in provisionals. I don't see how Suzanne gets through those in 2 days in time for computation. So we'd like to push it back at least until Monday. We checked the statutes on this. We are flexible. We can make it even later if we have to. So our goal will be to get all your provisionals ready for you on that Monday, with the understanding that if we can't, we'll just have to revisit some of them at the later meeting. And that later meeting right now is 5/3, 10 a.m. And that would be military ballots, outstanding provisionals, any outstanding issues at that point. So there are your dates for now. I'm sure we'll be popping into a commissioner meeting before then to talk about other things. But some things to watch out for in the next year is, of course, Michelle's moving on. Really going to miss her. She's been amazing, even though she hasn't been there very long. We are starting to interview this week with people. We have a lot of resumes, not a lot of good candidates yet, but we're lining up. We have a few that we think might be very good matches. So we're hoping to get them in here today or tomorrow or Wednesday. Something that we've been dealing with for a long time are the dishonest mail pieces, and there's one I want to call out right now because we've had reports of this particular mail piece other years, but this is the first time we've got a hard copy of it. Voters in our area are getting a mail piece from a third-party group that says, here is your voting record, and it is their voting record. It says their full name, address, it gives the election, did they vote in person or not, and it goes back, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 off the top of my head, I can't remember, it's 3 or 4 elections, and then it says, we are sending the same message to all your neighbors. We're going to be checking in with you in 6 months to make sure you voted. We last year had complaints from people who said, "What is this, and why? How dare you send me this?" And of course, we would not send you that. It comes across as vaguely threatening. And the first person to send us a copy of this was an English as a second language voter from Mount Gretna, a professional who saw this and wanted and used those words, "I feel threatened by this." So it is a group out of DC operating with a PO box out of Harrisburg on 7th Street. They are not violating the law as far as we can tell with this mail piece, but
Did you bring it to show us, or do you have the name of the group?
I can share it with you via online. We have a poor scan of the letter, unfortunately. We got a scan of it and then it was tossed. And last year we had a handful of people who all reported the same, literally the exact same letter, but every one of them, well, I threw it away. So, but we have the group's info in DC. I have no idea party or anything, not that it matters to me, but it does feel shady. I'm not a big fan. I'm sure this is only the first of many that we're gonna be hearing complaints about this year. Get out the vote efforts, which is what the group says it is. If you go to their website, it's a get out the vote effort. So be aware that you may come across those, and be assured that we will not, as an office, be sending anything like that to anybody. Already the applications are going out, fake applications are going out. People have been getting them for months now that look like they're coming from my office. They are not, though they are still valid, interestingly enough. So if you see somebody shows you an application that looks sketchy, it probably is, but it doesn't mean we can't use it. If it captures all the same information, there's a signature and date and address, and they fill in all the information that we require to register, it's still valid. We can still use it.
I'd sit someday and brainstorm options with the cooperation of our local medias to create more awareness about this in the community. I think there may be some options there.
Colonel Bell, so if we encounter that, do you want us to forward
I would love that,
examples of those things to your office?
Yes, please. If nothing else, I'd like to get a better scan. If I had a better quality picture or scan, I would I've already sent it to the press, and I would have it up on our website as a warning too, but it just is so fuzzy, it wasn't very good. Yeah, if you have one. Would be of very much interest to me to know if these are targeted any particular way, these mailings. I don't know. I suspect they probably are.
To a party or something of that nature.
The demographic, a party.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it enough yet,
Right, I hear.
enough of them to get a pattern yet.
Okay, is there anything else?
So I don't know if you have anything else for me. That's what I had written down as things to cover. There's future business we can have for a future meeting, but that's what I have to discuss.
I did want to bring up discussion about the Dropbox, and then we'll put forth the motion to eliminate the Dropbox, and so I guess we can do that, get it on the floor, and then we can, if we get a second, we can discuss it.
We have a second.
I'm not in favor of moving the Dropbox.
Well, I'll second the motion just to get it on the floor. This is something that I'll make a comment on right away. Because when I learned shortly after I got appointed that was an option, I didn't know it was, but learned that some other counties were eliminating theirs. It's something I was in favor of initially, but in talking to Sean about that Sean, maybe you want to share.
There's a lot to cover here, just numbers wise. Would you like to address anything in particular?
Logistically, and people coming in
So,
and creating
I am very aware of the fact there's a political part of this discussion and there's a ops part of this discussion. And from the ops side, our Dropbox is right outside our door here, but particularly right outside security. So we have about 3,000, a little more than 3,000 people are dropping ballots through the Dropbox out of about 8,000.
And I believe most of those people that do it would say they have more confidence in bringing it here in person than putting it in.
We have a lot of people that are very, they don't have a lot of confidence in the postal system. And unfortunately, the experience of the last year has not reassured anyone with ballots going out so slowly. What I didn't mention is we also have a lot of ballots that get returned to us as undeliverable. And we know we have perfectly valid, good addresses, and then they bounce back to us. And it might take, they go out, they come back to us. It could be 2 weeks turnaround. And we only have 5 weeks or so before the election. And then we're calling the voter, trying to figure out, why did this bounce back? And it's the correct address. And usually we just drop it in the mail and then it does go through. But if that, not always, but if that's potentially 3 weeks at that time, it's okay if you are pre-registered before the election, requested that ballot, because you have about 5 to 6 weeks, it still gets you on time. But in the meantime, you're mad because you think you should have your ballot, and you're calling us and we're telling you we sent your ballot and we're tracking it. We can see it's in the mail, but we don't know exactly where it is. Anyways, all of that's out there, and people know that. So there's not a lot of faith in the postal system for the delivery of ballots, unfortunately. Now, there's some great people working for the local post office here. I enjoy working with them very much and trying to figure some of this out, but the case is the case. The Dropbox is a way that they could drop those off and at least eliminate half that equation. From my ops side of the conversation, by having it outside the security check-in, it's somebody can get out of their car, drop off their ballot, and not have to come up through security to get in line. So we are expecting down the hall lines at our offices starting in about 4 weeks, well, 5 weeks. At that point, people that would be coming in to drop off their ballots are getting in a 45-minute line outside my office. I need to figure out some way to take care of that. So if we have temporary staff, maybe we could work the hallway, walk up and down the line, say, are you just here to drop off and collect it that way? Maybe we could have a ballot depository inside. Maybe, I mean, there are ways that we could try to compromise and figure this out if we have to, but the ballot box as is just eliminates that as an issue. So I'm expecting, let's see, I want there 4,000, 4,500 ballots to go Dropbox in this spring election.
I'd also like to point out that in addition to everything Sean has said, if it's raining and the floors are wet, there is that slip and fall, public safety. Our floors are immaculate, and still we have some slips and falls, number one. And number two, the majority of those 3,000 people would take the elevator up and down. That's extra wear and tear on our elevators. The list goes on, but why force them to come into the office when our Dropbox fills all of these wonderful missing pieces when it comes to USPS versus coming into the building? And then finally, our staff is overwhelmed already. For them to be able to sit down and open all of those with the mail opener or whatever and well, they can't really open them yet, but whatever they have to do, process them, sort them alphabetically or by precinct, whatever they have to do with them, they can do that without having to interact, and they want to interact with the public, but it's just overwhelming for a small staff when they already have a 45-minute line. To eliminate that well, not postal, but it looks like a post office Dropbox, but to eliminate our Dropbox would just add multiple layers of complication to this election that we don't need. And so I truly believe in our Dropbox.
I could offer perspective from other counties. if this conversation was 2 years ago, it'd be a lot different. Since then, there have been counties that successfully have eliminated Dropbox. Successful meaning that they aren't currently in court. So that might not have been the case 2 years ago, but now it is. So you had, I was very shocked that York had eliminated theirs. Lancaster has eliminated theirs. Other counties have expanded them. And ours, for someone reading the story that might not know, we only have a single Dropbox right now, and it is right outside our courthouse door. That's a little different than some other counties that have a remote Dropbox that make it convenient for someone that's not close to the courthouse. So we have a different strategy. Since the beginning, it sounds like you guys have used the same one. But it's worth noting that there have been other counties that have successfully eliminated them. So.
Okay.
No, we have another question back here, but if you have one,
My,
first, go ahead.
this has been probably the number one source of suspicion over the
understand.
years as far as people, because once somebody approaches that box and puts a ballot in it, there's really no way, we're not monitoring that. You may say that we have security inside, but the people inside aren't watching and can't really detect whether somebody puts more than one ballot in. And once that transaction happens, you have no idea who did it,
Right.
were they mixed with everything else in there. There's no way of following up. And it just seems like that is people talk about integrity in the voting and trying to make it as fair and honest, one vote per person and all those things. This is, to me, a symbol of a potential problem that you can't control, because you're counting on people walking up to the box, doing what they're supposed to do, and putting in one ballot. There's no way of really proving that they have not put in more than one. And I think that's my main the complaints that I get is the security of it. And we did try to bolster that with cameras and signage, but it still has the gap from a complete I'll say fraud-free experience.
Well, that was my, again, observation when we talked some time ago about installing the cameras, that I initially felt better about that, but the more I thought about it, I thought, well, we can actually see it, but now it's already in there, and it's with the other ballots, so it's a problem for me.
I would like to counter with the fact that we have special signs telling people that they can only drop their own right at that box. We have a camera to identify, many cameras on the buildings too, but cameras to identify who is dropping. But even more than that, when you look at a regular United States post office box, none of that exists. And we have the security people inside the building watching as well. But at a mailbox, there is none of this. Again, this is so superior to a United States Postal Service mailbox. And in eliminating the kinds of things you're concerned about, that's where it really happens. And, with the education we've been doing, it keeps getting better at the drop box. The post office boxes, not so much. I really feel that this drop box is the best situation for our voters, the safest, the most comprehensive, and saving our staff wear and tear, as well as the building.
Someone from the community would like to speak?
Pam Tricamo, Lebanon City. I haven't heard any discussion about how eliminating that drop box is going to affect handicapped people. You're talking about waiting in line for 45 minutes, but a handicapped person takes them 5 minutes to pull in and drop their ballot off. If you eliminate that, handicapped people are going to have to go down the ramp, if they know the ramp exists, go down the ramp, through the building, get to the elevator to get upstairs. You've taken a 5-minute process and turned it into a half-hour process for people who already are having difficulties getting around.
Thank you.
Can I just make one comment? Joellen, you said about the sign on the box telling them they can only do one drop. Well, I don't know if you know, we have a drop box over here that we got from the city for tax payments. And of course, everybody knows the city parking fines would go into that box before. We have signs on it, Lebanon County Treasurer, we have signs on no parking tickets, and what do we get? We get more parking tickets than tax payments sometimes. So they do not read the signs, I'm sorry.
Well, that, number one, is far away. Number two, they're used to doing it. The city moved out. I mean, there's other issues going on there. That's in a separate location.
It's still
I
locked, just
acknowledge
like
your
this one.
concern about the similarities, but I see many dissimilarities, if you will. I can't restate enough that the existing ballot box in its current location, and it's taken in between elections. There's no tampering with it, and it's locked up at night. It's only open during business hours. You don't have all of that with a United States Postal Service mailbox. We have so many extra security measures on this drop box, above and beyond. And we don't have satellite ones that aren't following all of these guidelines. You know, we set the standard high. Our bar has been higher than many other counties, and I think we can be proud of what we produce. And I fully support it.
You know, I hope I'm not out of line in saying that it can be true that this is obviously a political lightning rod, the Dropbox. It absolutely is. There's a relatively small but vocal group who are very concerned with it. I can appreciate that. But it also is more secure than a mailbox.
100% more secure.
Is it a federal offense to violate the lockbox or the drop box? As it would be if you do it with the post office?
I don't know.
With regard to our Dropbox, I think that would be a state offense. That would be more of a.
I'm just saying, you know, we have to rely on the post office as it is what it is, but that's, you know, people that choose to use paper ballots or mail ballots, I think that's, they know what the game is when they sign up for mail ballots. And so that's, that Dropbox is not part of Act 77, and it's just become a focal point of concern. And I thought, you know, eliminating it gets rid of one more issue that people have with the integrity issues with voting. So that's my piece.
Well, go ahead.
I just want to say, right now, there is really no line between our law enforcement. They are working in tandem, whether it's Homeland Security, the FBI, the state police. They are all working together. They're gonna descend upon anybody that tries to pull a fast one. I don't think that we should have any fears of our Dropbox.
We've exhausted the conversation for now. Summarize that we've certainly heard the concerns on both sides of the issue, and I'll call for the question in a minute. And if in fact we do decide to eliminate that, we're not done with this issue. We're going to have to figure out operationally how we manage that, because the last thing we want to do is create a line and you know, people waiting 45 minutes. That could be viewed as suppressing the vote too. So we need to address this. So anyway, any last chance? No.
I just wanted to ask Sean, because you did say the counties that successfully, in quotes, air quotes, eliminated the drop box are all in court.
Lancaster was. I don't believe that.
Were these challenges from the public?
Yes.
Against the removal of the box?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Lancaster was NAACP. I can't remember where the, I don't remember what the other cases were.
Matt, did you want to comment?
I did, yes. And Laura, you brought up an important point that I did want to get into the discussion. So the Act 77.
Would you introduce
Oh, yeah,
yourself?
Matthew Bugley, County Solicitor.
Welcome to the team, Matt.
Thank you. So Act 77 obviously made a lot of changes, and the language, the relative language pertaining to the return of ballots states the elector shall fill out, date, and sign the declaration printed on such envelope. Such envelope shall be securely sealed, and the elector shall same by mail, postage prepaid, except where franked, or deliver it in person to said county board of election. This was enacted in the latter part of 2019. Obviously, in 2020, with the COVID pandemic, there was a large push to encourage individuals to utilize vote by mail. So in the summer of 2020, one of the major political parties here in Pennsylvania filed what's called a declaratory judgment, where it essentially seeks clarification from the state court regarding whether or not a county can accept ballots other than at a location behind the counter, if you will. So what happened was in the fall of 2020, in the run-up to the presidential election, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling and stated that the election code should be interpreted to allow county boards of election to accept hand-delivered mail-in ballots at locations other than their office, including drop boxes. There are many counties, it appears in some of my research, that counties outside of Philadelphia, Montgomery, Chester County, that have in some cases 10 to 12 locations. I know Dauphin County has a location in the upper portion of their county. So the ability of a county board of election to have a drop box was something that there was some ambiguity whether the election code via Act 77 allowed it. The courts clarified it in 2020, and so that's where the authorization to have these locations came from. As far as a requirement from the state, this would fall within the purview of the discretion of the Board of Elections, whether to have a drop box, whether to not have a drop box. Sean brought up Lancaster County. We discussed that, and it ended up where there was a challenge that was brought, but it was more of a procedural challenge, that the decision to eliminate the drop box was not procedurally done correctly, and it ended up where that was rectified, and Lancaster County no longer has the drop box anyway. So as far as challenges to it, if a decision is made today to eliminate it, I think that falls within the discretion of the Board of Elections with regard to. So looking at other counties, I believe that this is something that, like I said, the Department of State recognizes it is in the discretion of each individual county whether to have a drop box or to not have a drop box.
So does that eliminate the superseding decision that the state Supreme Court made that they could have them?
Well, it's that the Supreme Court's decision gave discretion to the county boards of election.
Okay.
Didn't mandate a drop box, didn't absolutely require it. The language was it should be interpreted to allow them. So if they want one, they can have it. If not, then they're under no requirement from the state to have one.
So what Matt is, won't put words in your mouth, but where Matt is describing here is there's such a breadth of ways that counties can approach this, that this one topic that is a big lightning rod, I can't stress enough, I can appreciate that because I hear it too. It's hard to describe what we do in Lebanon County as being the same as what Chester County does, which is dramatically different, or some other counties do. But it's all drop boxes, in air quotes, but they're so different. Chester County's is fascinating in how they do theirs. They rent tractor trailer, the half container trucks, and they set them up as mobile offices around the county. And they have generators in them, and at 8:30 in the morning they open up the back and they pull the generator, and they have a desk that rolls out on wheels with an umbrella over it to shield you from the elements, and someone sits at the desk all day in a parking lot, and they're all over the county with power and Wi-Fi and whatnot, and they just sit next to the open box all day, and people pull up and they say, "Thank you, may I have your ballot and your ballot only?" And they take it and they put it in the box. That's versus what we have, which is just one box that's unstaffed, but it is under camera and the sheriff's department right down there, versus what now Lancaster's doing, which is no box. There's a pretty big difference there. I'm glad I'm not the one voting on this, guys, but I will make it work. Whatever you decide.
And if, for example, if I just devil's advocate for a moment, if I were bringing in as a registered voter, my mail-in ballot, and my husband had the flu that day and I brought his. So we're married, we're both registered voters.
You can do that if you have a form. There's a special
Oh,
form.
There's a
but
form.
I'm saying if
Yeah.
a person just said, "Oh, for goodness sake, give it to me. I'm going to take it and
Yes.
put it in." What would be the sanction if it was discovered that I made that grievous error?
So Laura, you bring up a way that our state differs from most other states that do this. Our code says you and you only. That's it. Other states say you can bring in usually a member of your household. I don't know why we're the outlier on that, because that would basically eliminate this problem if that language was adjusted. But at the state level, that talk about lightning rods, that's a big lightning rod too. But we are where we're at. But you are correct. You cannot bring in your spouse's ballot. You cannot.
But if you found out that I did because we've got a camera and you see that I deposit two things and I even confess, I put my husband's in as well, what would be the sanction?
Well, from my office, I just refer that then to the district attorney, and it's up to her to take the next steps. Like from my office point of view, is I can't take it. I stop you. Like if you're trying to hand it to me in the office, boy, there's an awkward conversation when they come up. We say, I'm sorry, I can only take the one. You have to take the other with you. I hate that. But beyond that, my office doesn't have any kind of prosecutorial or fining ability. We just refer it to the DA. And if you look in the national news in areas where this is an issue, local DAs do go after people for this stuff. They can. Where Georgia is the source of a lot of these stories, where they did try to go after people, in Georgia, they found they were all actually not violating the law. It was all drug depositing family members. But here, we don't have that provision in the law.
But we do have the form that
We do.
allows it,
We
and
do.
I think we need to educate people on that if you are in a household where someone cannot make it, you could carry it in and drop it in the drop box if you have that form attached.
And that's a form that predates mail-in balloting. It goes back for a long way. It's just a standard affidavit form that gives you permission to carry someone else's stuff.
And it is on the voter registration
It
website.
is. It's on our website.
Okay. Discussed this plenty, I think. We're ready to call the question. We have a motion on the floor to eliminate the drop box as it is right now. And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
So, we'll do that, but Sean, I would encourage you, and I will help, when Jamie returns, there, we need to sit down and talk about operationally, how we're gonna manage this more efficiently, if that drop box is
Okay.
removed. And we could even look at our other alternatives to possibly place it somewhere else that it's
There are,
more closely monitored or something like that.
in
There may be
anticipation
other
that this
options.
might have happened, we already have a few things that we can address whenever you're comfortable moving forward with that conversation and present
This is
here.
gonna cause issues, eliminating.
So if we could maybe set that as a meeting agenda item for the next commission meeting, it'll take time to get all this stuff in place if we have to come up with a plan B, or since we're coming up with plan B.
Yeah. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn back in the commission meeting. Stand adjourned.
Okay, we've adjourned the election board. Now we'll reconvene to finish up our items of the agenda that are left for the public.
Fun here, guys. Looking forward to it.
Okay, I guess I'm next.
Good.
Ready? Okay, Dawn Felicio, I'm Deputy Chief Clerk. And I have a few things this morning. The first one that I have is 2 hotel tax requests. The first one is for the St. James Players. They are looking to partner with the Drunken Smithy to bring a 2-day ferry festival to Lebanon. The festival will be held on April 27th and 28th, and it would include vendors across Pennsylvania, blacksmith demonstration, food trucks, and a scene from Peter Pan, which would be held in the St. James Player Theater inside the mall. Pictures with Tinkerbell, the cast of Peter Pan, appearances of the Fairy Queen throughout the event, and a Peter Pan parade with a sword fight with Captain Hook and Peter Pan. They are looking for a total project of $6,250, and they are asking for a request of $5,000.
I'll make a motion to approve that request.
I'll second the motion, but I do have an observation. If you take 25%, I don't think this meets the 25%.
It does not.
And really, we should be consistent with that and treat everybody the same.
Yeah, it would be $46,8750.
46,8750.
So I didn't know if you would consider
I'll
amending your
amend
motion.
my motion to that amount, 47,8650.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Okay, the next one I have is from the Pennsylvania Gourd Society. As you know, we've done this one before. We had some nice gourds hanging out there over Christmas that they sent us. But they are also having an event at the Expo Center. This event would be celebrating their 22nd anniversary. And this brings artists, craftsmen, and enthusiasts to showcase the versatility of artistic potential of gourds. This would be held June 13th to the 15th, and they would be bringing in different people on different skill levels to instruct on what you can do, how you can grow gourds across the U.S. So their total project for 2024 is $7,600. They do have their match of 25%, therefore they're requesting $5,700.
Make a motion to approve the request by the Gourd Society.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Okay, the next thing I have is some appointments to the different boards that we have. The first one I have is for the Lebanon Transit. We have 3 members whose terms are going to expire at the end of this month. Alan Freed, Brenda Phillips, and Patrick Kerwin. They all 3 have agreed to be reappointed for another 3-year term, so their new terms will expire on January 31st, 2027.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and I'll acknowledge that Brenda Phillips is my spouse, but there is no pecuniary interest in the issue.
Okay, and the next
We
advisory.
need to vote.
Oh, yeah. Guess it would.
Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Okay, Dawn.
Okay, and the next one I have is for the Children and Youth Advisory Board. There's 4 board members whose terms are expired in December here. They've all agreed to serve another 3-year term, and their new terms will expire on December 31st, 2026. They are Donna William, Luz Rosario, Christina Slake, and Amy Custer. Slick.
I'll make a motion to approve the 4 reappointments to their board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those advisory board members for children and youth. Any questions or comments? If not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
And the only thing to note is there is a lady on the advisory board that is resigning. No motion needed, but it is Judith Weimer. She is resigning, so we will send her a thank you letter.
Very good.
Okay, and lastly, I have one disabled veteran. It is Paul Burkhart of Palmyra. It would be for real estate.
Make a motion to approve that exemption request.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve that veterans property tax exemption. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
That's it.
Entertain a motion, or anything from the floor. Motion to adjourn? I'm sorry.
I
This
have a
is,
couple of questions. You want me to say who I am again?
we'll waive that requirement.
Okay, I did not understand what this organization is that's having something about Peter Pan. What is this?
St. James Players.
What?
St. James Players. They're inside the Lebanon Valley Mall.
Oh,
Yeah, they do plays and
They do theater plays.
they educate the youth of the county in the performing arts. It's a volunteer group.
and we're funding that
As on the hotel tax,
from the hotel
to
tax.
promote, to bring people in from outside the county to stay in the hotel rooms. And that's what feeds that for tourism.
So then if you don't go to a hotel, you're not funding it, is that right?
Not necessarily.
Well, then you are funding it with what? If you don't go to a hotel?
They also go
Those
to
are the-
restaurants.
Those are where the funds come from the hotel tax.
Gas
that we get.
stations.
We have a fund that's generated on anybody that stays in a hotel.
Okay, but if you don't stay in a hotel, you don't have to pay it, right?
No.
Okay, and there's no, if you don't go to a hotel, then none of your money is being used to fund this thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it's been moved to adjourn. We stand adjourned. Thank you for your attendance.